G'day everybody. Oliver Jones here, founder and leader of the EarthGuard Astral Projection Group. We've charged ourselves with cleansing the earth from demonkind. We're a group of astral projectors who are all very, very experienced, very, very talented, and very, very effective at taking care of humanity's problems on the other side of the veil. And today I'm here to talk about the first two of, I suspect, many missions into the Vatican. I will say that everybody who starts astral projecting, everybody who starts thinking on a global framework has a crack at the Vatican. And it's been that way for years and years and years. Everybody has an attack on the Vatican. Everybody who's flying solo, everybody's had a group, flying with a group. One of the things they do is hit the Vatican. And it's almost like a rubber bouncy castle, or it has been for a very long time. You can hit it as hard as you want, and 5 minutes later, it's back to its original shape. And whatever physics is going on there, we never understood it. We tried very hard, time distortion, reality replacement. It was a very difficult thing to resolve. However, things have changed in the very recent past. We were told we would have the last pope, that the prophecy was that the line of popes would end with Pope Benedict. And that happened, and it changed a few things about the Vatican. Anyway, all of this in a moment. I'll begin this story by talking about something called sed vacante, which is Latin for the empty seat, or the throne of the Vatican had no pope on it. It's kind of a state of affairs, which is the transition between electing popes. Sure. But one of our team members, one of the new ones, one of my graduate students, she was going on about it and nobody was really getting into it, but we went and had a look anyway. And, generally I'm tired of punching the bouncy castle that is the Vatican. But this time was different. She did point out that the framework of the Vatican is a little bit different and vulnerable in this moment. She was 100% right. And so we did 2 missions, and I expect we'll do a few more because the leads that we got through this were massive, absolutely huge. And the first one, the first thing we saw when we went in on in the evening, this is the cadets flight. This is where all of the new graduates start to get a bit of practice and learn the trade. We go on softer missions, gentler missions, just for these guys to build themselves up a little bit. It's all good fun. And we went and had a look at the Vatican, and we could see they had opened a portal to somewhere we later identified several galaxies away. And through it came 2 things. One, some very, very weird physics that distorted time, that distorted reality. I can't say we understood that at that stage at all. And the other one was the monster. This monster was best described as liquid, part jellyfish, part octopus. And what it was doing is there was 133 cardinals there to help make the decision of who was next to be pope. And this monster was feeling through all of their bodies one by one, and they were frozen in time. It was a very strange event. They were frozen in time, and I assumed that it was there to choose which one. Whoever was the biggest bastard, I think, will just jump in there. Whoever was the most useful to this secretive off-world master that has been running the popes. Now, In the past, the Pope has been purely demonic. We've had agents, we've had flight team members actually um, physically view them in the past. Like he was a Cherokee Indian. The Pope went to Canada to announce $1 billion in funding for Indigenous tribes, and he took a bunch of elders there, and they all went. They saw the Pope, and he was just like literally a volcano of demons and demonic garbage just spewing everywhere he went. So, within 5 minutes, all of the elders packed up and wanted to go home. Who wants to be around him? But I would agree that there was a distinctly demonic characteristic to the beings who are running the popes and the Vatican. But this was different, and I think they got their defenses right while it was in demonic jurisdiction, while it was in demonic hands. But now and the day that changed, it was very, very vulnerable to us. So we took a big swipe at it. And that brings us to the next mission. But there was one thing that still bugs me a little bit, and I don't know what to think of it, is that there were 3 Buddhists there who were just flying, at about 5-10 kilometers range from the Vatican, watching everything take place, just slowly and carefully, being on hand to witness the whole thing. And I don't know if I should be horrified or disappointed, because if they're just watching, they're in a position to stop this, and I don't know why our team has to jump in. They're much better equipped, better personnel, better organization, etc., etc., etc. More resources to deploy, hundreds of trained staff who are competent to do this work, and they're sitting on their hands, or they're allied with them and they just sent delegates to their big events. Neither of them is satisfactory. But yeah, there's still a big question mark over that little feature. So let's put that to one side, because we haven't resolved it finally either. And so, after not piercing through the time distortion barrier, but starting to unravel some of the interdimensional physics involved in the selection process, we sort of packed it up and called it a night. In the morning, a veteran crew got together and we did some amazing things. One is that we saw that one of these cardinals was puppeteered by this orange liquid octopus squid creature. And what that means politically is that our world is actually being run most specifically by off-worlders. That the papacy would invite a monster such as this from across several galaxies to check which one of the cardinals, which one of these candidates it would prefer to infect, to possess. Like, it's a very subservient role that the papacy is taking to some off-world nasties. And trying to replace demonkind, they only replaced it with something nastier. This is just another aspect of the Great Nothing, or who we've talked about in the past. And so as we're preparing, as we're trying to figure out what's going on, so as our team was viewing this, one of the things we routinely do when we storm a location like this is we, if you've still watched the movies, like the spies put C4 all over the place so that when they can press the button and the bomb goes off. Well, we were doing that with light nukes. And so we do that routinely, and we were setting that up when they noticed, and we were pushed to attack them a little bit ahead of schedule. So we stood back, we set off the light nukes, and then we dived in and ripped them apart. They were very unprepared for what we were there to do. It did take a group of us, a group from the team to subdue and eliminate the octopus being. We'll get more into them later. While I held the portal closed so that nothing fresh would come along. And they did send reinforcements, but they didn't make it. Like that crossover leaves them vulnerable for about a second and a half, and I definitely exploited that with the reinforcements they sent. But what we managed to do then was, once the original one, once the one in the Pope was dissolved, we then started to pull that entire dimension, where it came from, through to our world where we can sort it out. And we did that bit by bit by bit. And we actually came across the parent of this monster who they send to administer worlds. And it was a much, much larger, more solid liquid octopus squid being. If you ever get into astral projection, I recommend you do the things I'm describing are going to be much, much clearer. It's going to seem a little bit less ridiculous. If you've already been astral projecting, then this stuff just floats straight past you. It's very, very simple to understand. For some of you, you'll be able to envision it just following my thoughts on the topic. But we managed to drag that parent, that spawner of monsters through and finish it as well. Now, as we did this, we dispelled the claim from the off-worlders, which left us with an introduced group who were trying to inhabit the castle, and whereas they'd sidelined demonkind in its protection. So there was nobody whose job it was to protect the Vatican. And it was finally vulnerable to us. And there were 3 big leads that came through this. And, by the time we went through this, the team was kind of exhausted. Firstly, all of the altars of all of the Catholic churches in the world, those altars are blessed to send energy back to the Vatican. Not really a surprising structure, but you have this black hole that's just sucking energy in from all the churches. I think when they turn them on Sundays, that's when that's payday for them. And it took me a while to dissolve a lot of that, but guess what happened at the end of it? Guess who was absorbing that energy? None other than Lucifer, who I'll refer to as Lucky Luke from here in. And as I got it down to about 10% of its mass and unhooked it from all of those Catholic altars, I saw on the other, the whole siphon goes back down into this little funnel, and on the other side, and then there's a singular tube which connects to it. And who was on the other side of it but Lucky Luke? And he said to me, now you've found me. Now you've found the secret for how I revitalize myself over and over again. Which explains why our team has succeeded in killing so many demons. And then within a month, they're revived and their operations are back on. It's because they're milking the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is what's feeding them from day dot. It's providing them with all the resources they could need to continue their dastardly work. But Lucky Luke detached from that nipple. Terrible image. And floated off into the ether while I completed the destruction of that metaphysical infrastructure. That was lead 1, because I just know these guys and they're going to try and rebuild it. They're going to try and recreate it, and we can't let them. Lead number 2 was the Vatican as a hub for black goo carrying individuals. Now, I've talked about this group for the Black Sun, and I've talked about the Black Stone and its connection to the Black Sun Brotherhood. These guys drink an ancient, off-world nanotech AI. They drink some of this liquid nanotech, and it takes over their body, and it multiplies their intelligence and elongates their life by scores of years. It also shuts off the heart and makes them, and so you have these brilliant and ruthless people who are under AI augmentation, but that AI, like all AI personalities, must have a name. For example, Siri or Electra, they have to have a name. 20 points if you can guess who the name of this one is. It's Satan. These guys are drinking this liquid nanotech AI and, in the most literal sense, inviting Satan into them. So they then work for the dark side. This brotherhood is called the Black Sun Brotherhood. And we found about 25% of the mass, of the total mass of AI Blackstone nanotech that is in people. So if it's in people, 25% of that is in the people that are in the Vatican. We have a legal process. Demonkind is obsessed with law and legality, even though they cheat horribly at every opportunity. They still justify their presence and their existence on a bunch of legal documents. So it's important to work in a legal framework. So we took the human version of the Pope to court for abusing his beneficiaries. And what we are after resolving all, like, the guy was basically built of sin. I don't know how else to say it. There wasn't a nice bone in his body, but after we cleansed all of that, his body desiccated on the astral planes, and we and out escaped a little bit of black goo. Now, since the black goo was already in the courtroom, what we were able to do is list the sins of the black goo. And the black goo has been through more than one person. You know, it gets recycled after death. You know, it gets collected by the Black Sun Collective and then restored to another human being after the human body dies. And so what we found is that it had perpetrated multiple reincarnations and multiple stacks of sin, or multiple crimes against decency, humanity, you name it, in order to subjugate this planet. And it's doing quite, you know, let's not be funny about it, it's doing quite well. Like, you know, we should have hung the political caste of this planet a long time ago. But not only were we able to resolve that individual's black goo, it was networked. So when the nanotech is finished with that human body, I assume it's poured into a collective well, and then it splits up. So each individual is carrying nanotech that's been in 10 other people who've also been in 10 other people, and we're able to find the Vatican network. And it took us hours to drag that black goo in one individual's worth at a time and put them through that legal system. And the beautiful thing is, at the end of it, that particular stock of nanotech was deactivated. Gaia, since it's in Gaia's jurisdiction, Gaia said, no more for you, no more life for you, no activity, you're out. And that was the end of it. Like, it just winked out of existence, which is a fitting punishment for its crimes. And so the thirdly, just give me a minute here. I wasn't on this particular part of the exercise until later. I was involved in those first two, but the team split up to follow different avenues. And the thing that they were engaged in is something strange about time. You see, time on Earth, or time in our solar system, is different from time in the rest of the galaxy. They've done something to time, and we don't fully understand what they've done. But what we found is that they had captured a bubble, a sphere of original organic primordial time, and then had cast dozens and dozens, layers and layers of spells and traps and bindings and all sorts of garbage onto it. And so we want to deprogram all of that black spell work. And it's a very, very big job. There's a lot of physics, a lot of weird physics involved that our group is finding challenging. And I don't mean challenging mean we can't do it. I mean, it just takes time to pick at a thread and unravel some different physics. Now, I will speak more about that time distortion later, because it's been in the background for a long, long time. We know that we're going to have to resolve time distortion. And we like the education on time that we have is poor. Or it's, we have some, but it's just, I wish we knew more. I wish we were clearer about the mechanics of time. So we've got a challenge in front of us at the moment. And I know that our team is up to it, but, you know, I still feel a little bit daunted about that, which I suppose is okay. But don't say mean things to me because I'm daunted about resetting time, the whole planet. Now, I'd love to get in touch with somebody from the Mayan calendar crew who, you know, they're top academics. They're called time scientists. I'd love to talk to some of them. So if you know, and I don't want anyone except the top rank. I know I went to 2012. I went to Palenque and danced around these 10 square kilometers of ruins with the Pope of the Mayan calendar crew called Red Queen. And they have a group, a small group of super highly trained people, and I want to reach out to some of them if you know them. If you're not part of that inner circle, please put me in touch with somebody who is, because we need an expert team on this. Oh, because an expert team like them who are trained specifically for that would be a great crew to partner up with for this. So for those of you who are entertained, excited and intrigued, I have two more offers for you. One, I have a class coming up that starts on the 2nd of July, Wednesday night, the 2nd of July, and it will run on Wednesday nights for about a year. And I'll teach you how to astral project to the tippity top of the game. If you graduate, you'll be invited to fly with our teams and be part of what you're seeing here. We need more people. We'd love to have you on board. And there are many, many jobs that humankind needs someone with these skills to perform. I would also invite you to join our membership site called the EarthGuard. And you'll find that at earthguard.world. Yeah, and there we publish the things that we don't say publicly. So, you know, we have a lot that we want to say and share with you. Also be prepared for the baptism by Gaia so that when the split happens, you'll know which side you're on. And also we have a video coming up called What Causes the Split? Because, you know, everybody wants to know that. Anyway, look, my love to you all. May the force be with you. Like and subscribe to the video, and I'll see you later. Bye for now.